Thank you for purchasing a reciprocating chronometer from Steamhead. I hope you get as much pleasure from its construction as I did from its design, even though it took 5 years and the AM/PM indicator has caused me quite a lot of hair loss. The video instructions are broken down into short activities. I suggest watching each activity before doing any practical work and then going back and following the instructions once you understand what's involved. You can then pause the video when required whilst carrying out the practical steps. If you look at the video's comments on YouTube, there's a list of chapter links to make it easy to navigate through each video. In addition to your kit, you'll need a flat-bladed screwdriver, a medium posi-drive screwdriver, a 2mm Allen key, a scalpel or similar modelling knife, a pair of pliers, wire cutters, some masking tape, some tissue or rag for cleaning and applying the polish, and some newspaper or similar to protect your work surface. To glue the wooden base together, I suggest using PVA wood glue. To glue everything else together, I'd suggest using standard super glue, as it's very runny and will be drawn into joints by capillary action and set quickly. If you don't want to use super glue, you could use any alternative as long as it sticks acrylic plastic. These instructions regularly refer to super glue, but if you are using an alternative, ignore my glue instructions and follow your glue's guidelines. You'll also need metallic brass paint. I'd recommend using Plasticoat metallic brass spray paint, although Rust-Oleum produce a similar product. If you're unsure whether the paint you have is okay to use on acrylic, try painting the inside of the engraved clock movement cover, which won't be seen. Open the box and remove the 8 items. I suggest opening each packet over a box or tray so as not to risk losing anything. Check each bag is empty. When emptying the bubble wrap packages, check nothing gets stuck to the sticky sealing strips. When opening the gloves bag, do so by peeling off the brown tape. Don't use a knife or scissors, as the gloves could be damaged. When removing the laser engravings from the envelope, check none are left behind. Your kit contains 6 laser engraved parts which require cleaning. The laser leaves soot on the engraving laminate, which can be removed using several readily available solvents. You can either use isopropyl alcohol, methylated spirits, also known as wood alcohol, or white spirit. However, don't use acetone, also known as nail varnish remover, as it will also remove the thin white layer from the engraving laminate. If you are uncertain whether a solvent will be suitable, try a little on the pawl. This will be painted so it doesn't matter if the white surface is wiped off a little. As with working with any sort of solvent, follow the instructions on the container. I'd also suggest wearing the vinyl gloves to protect your hands and working on a surface which won't be damaged by the solvent. With a piece of tissue or cloth, wipe around the edges of the engravings where there is most soot. Then wipe the backs and the fronts. It may be necessary to keep changing the tissue or rag you're using so as to remove all of the soot. Remember, the tissues or rags will be flammable, so do dispose of them carefully. Once cleaned, keep the engravings somewhere safe. And keep the vinyl gloves for later use with the lens and wood polish. The 12 metallic brass 3D printed spindles and spacers will also need tidying up. Because they are printed together, the 3D printer travels between them and often leaves trails of PLA filament hanging off one side. Please note that each 3D printed part is sitting on a raft. This ensures the parts are properly printed from the bottom up. They can be snapped off, which is very enjoyable, but the rafts make it easier to hold each part whilst you trim off any excess filament, so don't snap them off yet. To remove excess filament, sit each 3D printed part on a flat surface and use a sharp blade, such as a scalpel, to trim off the excess filament. Most can be cut off with a single downwards cut. Take care when using a sharp blade and always cut away from your fingers. Once you have removed all of the excess filament, you can enjoy snapping off the rafts. The rafts are not required and could be thrown away, although they may find a place in some other exciting and creative project of yours. Remember to keep the spindles in a safe place. Well done! You've successfully started your reciprocating chronometer kit and should now have 6 lovely clean laser engravings and 12 perfect 3D printed spindles. I hope you really enjoyed completing the first part of your kit and are looking forward to the next step.